Fifth week of NCAA wrestling just happened, and we saw a record-breaking 39 upsets, 15 of those in the top 10. We're going to be breaking down that as well as the box scores of each of the duels and our three main news stories of the whole week. Starting off with the box scores, Virginia Tech stays undefeated as well as NC State. Both of them got wins over the Tar Heels, North Carolina. We finally saw Penn State wrestle, which was also pretty good. They took a win over Indiana and Northwestern. It was kind of close though, but we'll get into that later on in the video. And then Iowa had a nice win. Nebraska had some good wins as well. And then the Minnesota, Purdue, Rutgers try. It was just pretty crazy. Minnesota destroyed Purdue, and then Purdue beat Rutgers, and then Rutgers almost beat Minnesota. So yeah, it was a pretty weird week of wrestling. A lot of upsets, a lot of really just weird rank shifts, but it was a pretty good week overall. For the major upsets for the fifth week of NCAA wrestling, 125, Patrick McKee ended up knocking off number 6 Devin Schroeder of Purdue. This was a pretty big one. Decision win for McKee, and 125 has just become one of the biggest upset weight classes in the NCAA. We saw Raven Foley get upset. We saw Devin Schroeder get upset. And Raven Foley, speaking of him, he started off the season at number 2. This week, he's ranked number 10 and just took another loss. So his rankings have gone considerably down since that number 2 ranking. Kind of sucks for him, but hey, that's wrestling. Moving on to the other weight classes, Carter Shirochi ended up getting upset by unranked guy Donald Washington of Indiana, lost by decision 10-9. It is pretty early in the season, so we can't really make judgments on the freshman. And it was Penn State's first wrestling meet since like last March, I would say. So can't really make too much judgments there, but yeah, big upset in that weight class. And then at heavyweight, there was a pretty big upset as Trent Hilger got upset once again, this time by Christian Lance of Nebraska. For our main takeaways, well, first off, finally saw Penn State wrestle, but didn't really live up to the expectations, at least that I set on them. I thought they were going to come out, steamroll Indiana, steamroll Northwestern, but came out at 125. They were already giving up 6 points. For some reason, they didn't have Robert Howard wrestling. Pretty big surprise to me. They gave it up. I think it was an injury forfeit in both of those duels or tries, whatever. But interesting to see Robert Howard not wrestle in the first meet of the season. So that already gave Penn State's opponents a 6-point advantage. So that should be kept in mind. But still, they dropped a lot of matches that they could have won. Carter Shirochi got upset. Jared Verkleen got upset. A lot of people from Penn State did get upset. Robert Bravo Young had a very close matchup. He won by decision against an unranked opponent who he probably could have tagged. So definitely didn't wrestle their best this past week, but I don't really see how they can compete with the likes of Iowa. They can barely beat schools like Indiana. Secondly, the ACC. Now this conference, it often gets overlooked. A lot of people are like, man, I don't want to watch the ACC. They don't got good teams. I'll just watch the Big Tens where they have like Penn State and Iowa, or I'll watch the Big 12s where they have schools like Oklahoma State University. But ACC, they're balling out this season. They got 2 great teams there. And that is NC State and Virginia Tech. Both schools undefeated. Both had wins over North Carolina this past week. And remained undefeated. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see them go up against each other and at the ACC Championship. They also got some pretty good wrestlers in that conference. They got, most notably, Mekhi Lewis of Virginia Tech, as well as some other good wrestlers from NC State and North Carolina. So definitely would want to watch some of the ACC duels and definitely the ACC Championship. Personally, I don't usually watch it, but this year, definitely going to be a competitor in the NCAA. Finally, I've said this before, but given Penn State's performance in the past week, as well as Iowa's performance in the past 4 weeks, I think it's clear to say that the only school that can really give a good competition to Iowa is going to be Michigan. We would have seen them wrestle this week, but the Michigan got canceled because of some COVID stuff with their staff. But it'll likely be rescheduled in the future, so it'll be interesting to see a battle between the number 1 and number 2 schools. But unless Michigan can really pull off a bunch of upsets, I think Iowa's going to run away with this one. Probably going to be NCAA champions this season. They got some great wrestlers, like I have said before. 3 or 4 or 5 even potential champions in Jaden Ironman, Spencer Lee, Austin DeSanto, Cassiope, Kemer, Marinelli as well. They got a guy ranked in every single weight class, and by far the most balanced team. Have just steamrolled over every opponent they have faced, including number 7 Illinois, who was off a pretty good start to their season. They were 4-0, and Iowa just crushed them even without Alex Marinelli. So yeah, definitely Iowa, almost a lock to win the NCAA championship. But I would tune into that Michigan versus Iowa duel. That's probably going to happen in the future to really make sure that Iowa will win this whole thing. That's going to wrap up our video for today, talking about the 5th week of NCAA wrestling. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, comment down below, and sub for more wrestling content like this. Peace.